get that boiling up, no worries. G'day guys, how we going? Well, thought going to cook up a little bit of a stormy tonight, but it's going to be a bit of a simple storm too, and a very tasty storm at the same time. And speaking of storms, there's a bit of a storm going on outside as well. So I thought this morning, you know, what can I make? I haven't done something with pork for a while, so what can I do? So I went down, I saw Ben at Murphy's Meats down here, my local butcher here, right here in Trafalgar, and I went down, I saw Ben, I said, mate, I wouldn't mind doing a bit of a cook up tonight. But doing something with pork, but I'm not going to be able to do a camp oven because the weather forecast was going to be a little bit ordinary, as it certainly is outside. And so I thought, what can I do? So it's got to be done on a fire of some arrangement. You know, I didn't want to do it on me, you know, in the kitchen inside. I want to do some sort of fire arrangement, missing cooking on the fire, you know, as probably all of us are. So this is the next best thing. So I've fired up the pot belly, and all this dinner tonight is going to be cooked right here on top of the pot belly. Now, so I went and saw Ben and he said, righto. So we went over to the fridge and he pulled out this rack of pork, and he said, what'd say I cut you a couple of cutlets off that? And I said, mate, that sounds amazing. So I went over, so he cut those off. I went over to the supermarket. I came back with a few other bits and pieces I had to get. And when I arrived back, this is what he had. These amazing, well-dressed couple of pork cutlets here. Absolutely beautiful. So this is going to be what I'm going to cook up for dinner tonight. Now I'm going to season these up in some garlic powder and some chili powder and some salt and that sort of stuff before we get going. But I'm also going to do it with some asparagus spears, and I've got some red capsicum too that I'm going to cook up with it. And then as a bit of a side dish, I'm going to do some macaroni and cheese as a bit of a side dish. Now how easy is that for anyone to make? But it's all going to be done here right on the mighty potbelly. So I've got the water going there already, ready for the macaroni to go in it. Once that all boils up, that'll go in there. So let's get into this, but this is going to be a great cook up. Let's get into it. Righto, so while I'm just waiting now for that water to get boiled up, which doesn't look too far away because there's plenty of heat coming out of the old pot belly at the moment. So I'm just going to season up these couple of pork cutlets here. So what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to put them in the pan in here, in my dish. Have a go at the size of these. These are amazing. Nice bit of marbling on them, so these are going to taste fantastic when I cook them up in my cast iron skillet. These are going to be absolutely great. But what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to put a bit of chili flakes on them. So I'm going to add a couple of bits of chili. I don't know if you guys like chili or not, but I don't mind it. I'll do that side first. Then I'm going to put a bit of garlic. Now, how can you not use garlic when you're doing a bit of a cook up? So a bit of garlic powder on these as well. Get those on there. Oh, how good is this? And then just a couple of squeezes there of a bit of salt on it. And then I'm going to flip them over and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So I'll flip those over like so. Garlic powder going on there. Have a look at that. How good's garlic? Gotta love it. And then good old chili flakes going to go on there as well. You can put as many or as little as you want. And then we'll do some salt on this as well. Now these, I'm going to let them sit for probably about 20-25 minutes. Let all that all get right in there. I'm also going to sprinkle just a little bit of oil just on them as well. And rub that in. Look at that. They are fantastic. So these are going to be amazing. And by the time I get everything else going with it, it's going to be sensational. But I'll just wait for that water to get going. And then I'll make the macaroni first, and then I'll do the bit of a cook up here with the pork cutlets, and we'll get it all happening. Right, that water looks, let's see how the water's going. Oh, that's boiling up nice, no worries. So now let's get the macaroni in there, we'll get that bit going. Then we'll go to the next stage. How good's this rain tin roof? Righto, let's get this macaroni going. Take that lid off. Now, I'm not going to need a great deal, it's only a bit of a side dish, so I'm just going to chuck probably a couple of handfuls in there. Give it a bit of a stir around. Certainly a primitive way of cooking, but I tell you what, it's going to do the job. This is going to be an amazing dinner tonight. Might just shut that off now, because that's probably enough heat coming through there without needing that on. So I'm going to shut that lid off. That'll keep hot as it is. Right, let's see how this macaroni's going, I reckon. Probably been on there for a little while now. Let's have a bit of a sample. Get one out. Oh, that is ready. So what I'm going to do with that now, I'm going to go and drain that off, and I'll bring it back inside. Then we'll get the sauce going, ready for the rest of the next stage. Then we'll start cooking up the pork. How good is this? Magnificent. Down there. I'll be back. Arnold Schwarzenegger said too. Righto, that's all ready to go. Just going to leave that down here. Oh, leave the lid on it so it stays nice and warm. Just now get the sauce going. Bit of a fry pan here. I'm going to put that on there, wait for a bit of heat to get in that. And I'm going to put some butter, some flour, salt and pepper, bit of cheese and some milk. It's all going to go on. Mixed in with the macaroni that's down there already cooked. Okay, let's melt the butter up. What have I got there? 1/4 cup of butter. Going to go in this little mix. Put that in there. Listen to it sizzle. And wait till that all melt down, and then I'll put the other ingredients in it. Oh, have a look at that. Righto, that's nicely melted up for the sauce there. Let's get the rest of it in. Bit of salt and pepper. I don't know, what do you guys put in your macaroni and cheese? What mixes do you put in that? This is a pretty simple one, but it tastes great. Bit of salt. There. And mix it all in. Righto, let's get a bit of milk going in it. 2 cups of milk. Yeah, when I'm home, sometimes I pull out the measuring devices. Nothing wrong with that. Out the bush, just chuck it in. Have a look at that. Make sure you keep stirring it. Last thing you want is to burn it and it all sticks to the bottom, because then your macaroni and cheese is not going to taste so good. But how's this old school way of, of cooking stuff right on top of a potbelly stove? How many years ago did they do it this sort of way of cooking? This is just how it was done. You haven't got the temperature controls of the modern day ovens and that sort of stuff that you got inside. It's all done out here on top of an old firewood stove sort of thing. It's a bit like this. Great way of cooking up. So let's wait for that to get a bit thicker, then I'll put the grated cheese in it. Love this old school way of doing stuff. It's just, I don't know, it's just great. Just bring this back over here. Let's get the cheese mixed in with it. Oh, how good is it? Oh, look at that. Righto, a bit of cheese. Now, you can never do too much cheese when it comes to this sort of stuff on, I reckon. Good old macaroni, never do too much cheese. So just put that back in there till it all melts in. And then I'll mix this in with my macaroni pasta down the bottom there. Righto, let's get the macaroni in it. Mix this all in. In there. backyard cooking at its best. This is unbelievable. Oh my God, that is so good. It's going to put some tin foil on top of that. Righto, put a tin foil lid on top of this. Keep it nice and warm till I cook up the pork cutlets. So good. Righto, that's going to go down here. Keep that nice and warm. Let's now get some heat in this fry pan or skillet here. Cast iron job. I just love cast iron, so going to get some heat in that. Then we'll get the pork on there. Oh, it's good heat coming that already. Oh, it's hot. Let's now get the pork on the go. These pork cutlets. Can put a good bit of oil in this pan here. Now, what I'm going to do with these, I'll put them both together and see if we can get them both on there. Because what I want to do, I want to sear up and brown up the outside skin first. Let's see if we can get them both on. Here we go. So what I do, I want to cook up that outside skin first, get that nice crispy and brown, then we'll put them down on the sides and get all that happening on the sides. Magnificent. Have a listen to that sizzling away. Let's see how that's going. Oh, look at that. Nice and brown as that. Have a look at that. Alright, let's cook those up on one side. And one thing especially with pork, a bit like chicken, you've got to make sure you cook it all the way through. So, bit of a low heat going on here at the moment, and get it all the way cooked all the way through. We'll flip them over, cook the other side, but that's great. No dials to turn the temperature up and down. Love cooking on the open fire, and you've got to challenge yourself sometimes and have a crack at this. This is just getting, and this is great. Let's see how these are going. Oh, look at that. Ah, sensation. Let's flip these over. Just a nice slow heat. Low heat is definitely the key in cooking these. Got to make sure they cook all the way through. Okay, let's get these veggies going, I reckon. What I've been able to do with a bigger frying pan, this one we'll just have to do being in the backyard. Well, this is almost ready to dish up, so I'm just going to push this a bit to a side. Let's get the macaroni and cheese back up here. Just give it a bit of a heat up. Look at that. Even in times like this, you can still cook amazing meals right here at home. Whether you do them inside, but for me, I just love getting out here on some sort of a fire arrangement. And for me tonight, let's cooking this up on my potbelly stove out here in my shed. Righto, this is now ready to dish up. that. Some beautiful pork cutlets. Right there from down at Murphy's Meats down there in Traff. How good's that? Thanks, Ben. Done an amazing recommendation there. Oh, look at it. Put that back on the heat. And a couple of spoons of macaroni and cheese. Have a go at that. Cooked right here in my backyard on the pot belly. Look at that. Got some couple of pork cutlets there, some macaroni and cheese, some asparagus and some red capsicum there. Now I'm going to go and park up down here and get into it. Look at that. Absolutely. Feeding them is great. Cut this open. How good is that? So simple, just cooked here on my pot belly, no temperature controls, an amazing meal. And Ben's done a great job down there at Murphy's Meats, giving me a great couple of cuts. A bit of pork cutlets for tonight's dinner, sensational. Good on you guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you have a crack at it, I'll be pretty keen to know. If you have a go at this, let me know what you think. Good on you guys, catch you later on. I'm going to get into this. See you later. Oh, this is so